Krishna. Wow, what a nice team. Great to see you all. How was your MSF today?
Great.
Who said great?
Yeah, please say more. And please say your name.
What was great about it?
Yes, this is the son-in-law of Vaisesika. I don't know. Do you hear me?
I can hear you, yes. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I was able to distribute like 3 books.
Very good.
3 books.
Congratulations.
And get to talk to a lot of people. Like maybe get to talk to 10 to 15 passerby people, and distributed festival card and invited them to come to the temple. And a lot of them said that they will look into the books when they come to the temple. And just 1 or 2 of them I spoke about Bhagavad Gita, how it can help solve our problems. And it went good. I was happy, and people were happy to know about our movement, our yoga, Bhagavad Gita. And I enjoy the company of everybody outside the Brooklyn neighborhood and all the Matajis. And the Sankirtan was very nice. I enjoyed it, enjoyed it. And it was nectar everywhere. And thanks to Kishori Mataji for organizing a nice Sankirtan.
Thank you. Very well done.
It was amazing. Who I can give? Next. Okay.
Maybe somebody can give me a summary of where you went today and what it was like.
Okay, so where we went.
Where you went today?
Okay. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So the young people let you know about the scores and how many books and everything was distributed. But Kishore Rani and Young found a really wonderful location about 2 blocks away from the Brooklyn Temple. It's in a revamped area in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. There's malls, there's shopping centers and stores everywhere. And it's kind of like almost a little island in the middle of 3 roads that are intersecting. And so there are chairs there are benches there where people can just sit and just enjoy the sun in the summertime. And so we sat up there, and it was such an ideal place because the majority of the people weren't really in a rush. They were open, very receptive, very sweet.
Well, how did you find that place and what was it? What is the place?
I don't know. Sorry, right?
It just was shocking. My daughter, as a young girl, so we were responsible. Small tendencies on
So, if I understood correctly, you had gone shopping there and you found and you discovered the place.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
really very nice. A couple of comments so far. It's just that the meeting people one-on-one is really important because nowadays a lot of interactions in the world are very official. In fact, most of them are. We go into stores to buy things, or we're on an airplane and somebody brings us a glass of water. And there's a brief interaction, but it's not that penetrating because the intention is just a tit for tat. And when there's a different kind of intention behind meeting people one-on-one, which is really to help them enter into a relationship with Krishna and to reach their highest potential, and you're doing it out of service, there's an impact that we don't see right away. But it's actually one of the main ways that people actually become devotees ultimately is by meeting somebody else and experiencing their faith coming out. And the other point is just about finding spots. As you continue to grow your team, as we continue to grow the team together, Krishna will reveal various secrets about the city that were previously hidden. And when we find those, it's a great revelation and expanse for chance to expand the Sankirtan. I'm really delighted to hear about the new spot and how you really liked it. Were you able to have a Harinam there at the same time like you like to do?
Yes.
Yes, we did find money, and we met at one table with books and now. And this was silent spot, a lot of people around, people were approaching us. Too much, just people were approaching the table and asking.
And you can have a table also?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes, we had a table too. Table and
So one thing that the energy has kind of shifted, which is really by your prayers, and really the collective sincerity of the devotees, and that is, since the last MSF, the majority of devotees have actually been trying their hand at book distribution. So there is a really wonderful Harinam that takes place. There's good 5, 6, 7 devotees who will be chanting and supporting the Harinam. But then there's a good about 10, 11 devotees who are really trying to just reach and interact with people on the street.
And how can you account for that? Why is it that more devotees are now going on book distribution? What's your secret?
I think it's Vidyami. Prabhu was asking, why do you think that there are more devotees who are trying their hand at book distribution instead of just Harinam? I think there's Vidyami, there's Govinda, there's Kishori Rani herself is like really trying to set an example of really just trying. And Sarah, so it's the sincerity of the devotees.
Kishori Rani, is that what you're trying to do? Set an example?
it's true that it's not my thing, distribution, I think it's carried to approach people. But somehow today people were approaching me, so I had no chance. Not too good, and it was really nice and really stopping because people were stopping, and it was possible to have a good conversation with them, and deep conversation and express why it's important for me, why I'm doing this, what really inspired me. Compared to something where it's like, hey, stop, and it's really hard to stop them. But his was much easier and it's much more violent because this deep conversation with people, it's something that inspires to try more and more.
This is excellent. Really, just as in when Brahma is trying to create and maintain the universe, he runs into various obstacles. And in the process of trying to do a service, Krishna will then reveal himself. One of my favorite examples is when the earth is fallen into the nether regions and Brahma's thinking how he's going to get it out. Can you hear me okay? Is it clear? He's sitting there praying, and then Varaha comes out of his nostril and begins flying around the universe and comes to save the day. And this is one of the aspects of Sankirtan that is extremely edifying, is that in the angst that we have to try to approach people, we try to reach out and make the connection really nicely, and then we're not sure exactly how to do it in this big city. But then gradually Krishna reveals to us the ways that we can actually connect with people, and ways to attract people to stop and things like that. And every time, even you get a small revelation of how to do that, that is a major step forward in growing the Sankirtan team, because it becomes part of the collective intelligence of your whole organization there, of how to do it. And any kind of growth takes place slowly by increments through hard-won realizations like you're describing. And more and more the city opens up to you, because it's really a field for spreading Krishna consciousness. And it's there waiting for us. And just like if you didn't know much about farming and someone dropped you off in the countryside and said, start a farm, then it would take you a little while to figure out how to cultivate the soil, how to plant the seeds so they would grow properly, and so forth. And in a similar way, the whole city is your field, and learning how to cultivate the people there and interact with them in ways that are fruitful is a very exciting prospect, of which you're doing a noble job of, and expanding. Please. Hare Krishna.
So I wanted to say one thing. When we just started with the table outside, it was a really nice place. And before that, I actually usually go to this place. And I went to ask somebody, like some kind of authorities, if we can be there. And there are some kind of public places and private places where we can do and where we cannot do, kind of. And I've been told that actually it's a public place, so we'll be able to eat us home. And then when we started, actually, two gentlemen, they approached us and they said that, oh, we have security something. And then we actually started talking to them that because we knew that it's permitted, so it's fine. And we said that only for 1 hour, it's okay. And actually, they said, we have a focus also. We're here, but you can move a little bit. We just said that, just only for 1 hour, And then actually it ended up that one of them, he knew about the temple. I mentioned that, we present the temple, it's a monastery. He said, oh yeah, I know this temple. And he knew this temple. He said, okay, let me talk to the boss. And then they went, and they never came back. So it's good they didn't bother us. But it's also, I like that you said that, every time we do this, it reveals to us different things, like what we have to improve all the time. And right now, we actually decided that it's a very good spot. And even if we need a permit to be there, we can figure out how to get it.
Yes. And, it's, as we make progress, we can never also consider that everything's reached homeostasis or a level period where it's going to stay like that. It's always a challenge because we're dealing with an ever-changing world, and going out into public, there's never any guarantee of what's going to happen or what's going to be maintained. Anything can change at any time. And that's one of the ways that makes the service edifying, is that we're always on the ready to adapt, to what's the next situation, and depending on Krishna, how to do it. It's something Prabhupada did to start the movement. Just always remember how he got moved. He started chanting in one place and they told him to move under the tree. And now, of course, the tree's famous. The longest standing member of the Hare Krishna movement. you know, but that was because he got moved under there. Somebody told him that, you know, you can't do it here, you got to do it over there. And then, you know, one thing led to another and he found his niche. So that's always the challenge, you know, what's going to happen next. Divyangi, how's the team looking? You feeling like it's getting stronger there? Jai Shri Radha Govinda Ji ki jai. I guess the curtains just closed, didn't they?
They just opened. They just opened.
Oh, okay, because everything suddenly went darker than it was before. Well, I can't tell you how auspicious it is that all of you are sitting in front of Sri Sri Radha Govinda talking about Sankirtan, having just come back from that, from the Sankirtan world. Please go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. We wanted to introduce you to some of the key members of the team, and just also keeping in mind that I think our lecturer for today said that we might need to leave a little bit early. So first of all, if it's okay, we wanted to just introduce Gadadhar Pandit and his wife Idol. This is the first time they've joined the MSF. And Gadadhar Pandit, who actually was...
Oh, Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu came.
Yeah.
This is so nice, Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu. I've really, you know, the fact that you did this to come out in the MSF, and I understand, I saw from the poster that you were going to give a talk also.
Yes.
It was about overcoming obstacles or something like that?
Yes, that's right.
I mean, God, I got to hear that talk myself. But you know what? You're giving this kind of attention, you know, it's a shot heard around the world. For somebody of very high stature to come in and just give attention, it brings notoriety to the whole team, and we're deeply grateful to you for doing this. It's really touching that you did this. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Was first saying that I'm not really a book distributor. I've done a couple of book tables in my life, and then so for the first maybe 40 minutes of the MSF, I was just really supporting behind them. And then all of a sudden, you turn around and you're speaking to 8 people. And, so it's deeply ingrained in there. So it's just also really enlivening to see how that spirit of just wanting to share, and you share so much on so many levels, but even comes out in book distribution.
Yes. Yes, very nice points. Gadadhar Pandit Prabhu, can you say a few things?
Yes, please.
Well, first, thank you very much for setting up something like this where we can plug in and be sure you're on who are the ones who reached out to us to come and participate in some capacity. And they asked me to give the talk. I think that's how they were wording it. And so I came in, and then my wife, I go to the kirtan. She loves to chant kirtan. She was out there singing, so it was nice to be out there. It was really nice to be out there and connect with the public in New York City and Brooklyn. I've done book tables before when I was in Brahmacharya. I used to provide assistance at the book tables, so I've done that before. Not much one-on-one. We did it a few times, I believe, during the marathon. But it was really nice to see 15, 20 devotees going out there to be part of that team. And, there's not so much frontline preaching happening for me right now. So it's nice to come here to support whoever is trying to do that. So I feel like I'm sort of a supporting role right now. So I'm sure you're pushing for that I want to engage in multiple different ways here, places where you reach out. I sort of agree and look at like, if I'm not taking the initiative, because I can support those who are taking the initiative. So,
so nice.
So that's where we're at. I'm happy that I get to participate today. She's too shy to say anything.
Oh no, she can say a couple things. She doesn't mind. Go, just a few words. It's just anything from your, it doesn't have to be prepared or anything, but just to hear the vibration, whatever you have.
Hare Krishna. It was definitely, it was actually my, I think my first time, first time in MSF. It was really, really inspiring to see how all the teams and trainings and how exhibition and greatness is right. Yeah, I was just hiding behind the instruments as well. I don't really have any information on people, but it was really inspiring. Thank you so much.
You do know that you're making history, right? You know, I mean, this is a time in the world that is pivotal, and the fact that just being on the party, coming out to support, and coming out for your first time at MSF and everything, and I'm seeing this picture of you all, and you're there, and you're there. I mean, you voted with your feet, and that's something that's recorded for all time. It can never be taken away, and I feel it out here. That you came and you joined in with the party, and it has a major impact what you've done. So I'm deeply grateful. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Well done.
We pray this is the first of many that will join. Kishore will introduce two members of the Vaisesika who have been part of the team since the very beginning, very, very beginning.
It's not possible to do without sound. There is supports me, us, all us. They do so much with the always there, always available, always flexible too, and really actually really good and used to.
She's so good at what
Someone people say, how many she does items and what's the computer is not she also she's inspiring all of us now.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I just started to participate in some Kirtana festival as a youth tutor. Before I supported China with dancing, and recently, many times I started approaching people and trying to spread the knowledge. And first, my first step was to stop being shy and stop people, offer the books, tell something about spiritual knowledge, and it gets easier. And now I feel pretty confident at least talk to people. And a few books I was able to distribute, and also sometimes I meet Russian people, then it becomes easier since they can speak in my native language. And I also invite them to our Russian program, and they ask me for Russian books. So if it could be possible, it would be great sometimes to have some copies in Russian, because for majority of Russian people, it's difficult to get familiar with such type of knowledge in English, even for myself, it is read in Russian. So such type of suggestion to add Russian books in the file. Thank you.
So you're saying you have the Russian books there, right?
Yeah, it would be great to have some.
And the Russian people, they like that when you show it to them.
Yeah, I start showing English versions, but most of them asking for Russian, And if I cannot suggest anything, offer anything, then I invite them to our Russian meetings that happen in Montana. So TED Talk, I tell them about the Russian Sangha meetings, what we are doing, what we are about, and invite them. So it's also another way to bring them to, to enjoy the night.
Excellent. That's really, really amazing that you're connecting with the people in that way, and that they're taking the Russian books. And I liked how you're, well, I meant to ask you, what are you telling people?
First, I'm asking them if they're interested in spiritual knowledge or about books about yoga and meditation, and then it depends if they looks like interesting. I'll start looking at the books. I always look at the books and tell about the books I have. Using Bhagavad Gita, then the essence of the ancient knowledge that are the most old knowledge in this world, and they how to uplift your consciousness and different things. What comes to my mind at that moment. And I also look at the person when he becomes subjected to. And yeah, so.
That's really nice. I would definitely take a book.
Oh yeah, I will approach it. It will be easier to shoot the person into the car and get the offer of spiritual knowledge. They become more interested to look into the book and so on. Let's see how it goes. I am happy that I'm part of this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Amazing.
Hare Krishna. My name is
Hare Krishna.
Actually, we met and I was helping the culture Prabhu taking the company twice. I really enjoyed to helping to my mom as my favorite practice in the Karma. This is my part.
I couldn't quite hear that last thing.
I just played the card on top.
I'm wondering if I can hear better without the microphone. Can you just say something without the mic? Let me see if I can hear it.
Without the microphone?
Yeah, try it.
Karatal.
Kartal.
Karatal.
He was playing the Kartal.
Oh, well, that's a very important service. That, no, I mean, it's that kartal sound that people hear from blocks away, and it doesn't match with anything else they hear in the city. It's a transcendental sound, and it draws them in. This was something Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very keen about. You know, he would set up his Sankirtan parties, and he would handpick who would play the kartals and who would sing and things like that. So you're on Mahaprabhu's eternal party. Well done. Uh-oh, your screen froze. Hare Krishna. Vrindavan Vinodini, I think I'm hearing better without the microphone.
Is it better without the microphone?
If you just said something without it, it was much better.
Let's not use it then.
Because it echoes, you know.
It echoes. Okay. You're not fun. So there's another devotee who's very integral. And so we're just slowly trying to move him forward. He's saying he's very shy, but he supports the Harinam and plays the Mridanga for 2 hours straight.
Wow.
Okay. Well, when you come in person, then you'll.
I'll search him out.
He's in the board. Dhananjay Krishna Prabhu. Yeah, Dhananjay Krishna Prabhu, he's also in the board. He came and joined us.
Hare Krishna.
And his family.
Jai.
And his daughter Radha distributed Bhagavad Gita today.
Oh, really?
That's
That's
amazing.
your daughter.
Best book distributor for now from
One
kids.
thing is very important, like our kids are taking good part of this book distribution, and it's really, really impressive. I mean, I really enjoy this when they go and then convince the people. Even I can do it. That's why it's very important. My daughter was like distributing one Gita, and after that, she was really, really excited, and she told me like very, very eagerly to, let's say, express her feelings. It was really great. So I inspire like any other devotee bring their children and join with us. It's going to be really great. And they do very amazing job.
So what are their names? So maybe they can introduce themselves.
I am Radha.
That's your name.
Radha? And that's your sister?
This is Juti.
Duty. And both of you went out today for the book distribution?
Yes.
Oh, that's very nice.
We're missing some other kids. They did the most important role also. They distributed the lollipops, candies. That was really good. People were taking the candies from them.
Do people like lollipops?
Your daughter.
Yeah.
Which one is it?
Very nice.
We have a lot of kids today.
Yeah, many kids.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. The kids are the heart of the party. We find that because they develop a natural enthusiasm when they see that. And it's the best training that kids can ever have is to go out and see how the world works. And when you do Sankirtan, you get a kind of training that you don't get anywhere else. I mean, you go get an MBA or something like that, but you can still be dysfunctional. But when you learn how to communicate with people within a second, and also learn how to face rejection, learn how to organize by going out and taking things with you, bringing them back, this kind of education carries on into the rest of your life. And it's very, very powerful. I think it's one of the most important services that kids can do is to go out. And it's also a time to be together with parents, because oftentimes at the temple, you're doing services in different parts of the building because they don't exactly match. But on Sankirtan, you're all together. It's the great equalizer. Good going, kids. Today I was just at the temple. I just came from there, and about 20 of our kids just went out for the Sankirtan this weekend. But I'm sure they would like to meet you. Sometime we'll have to bring the parties together. You can have one big, huge party. Keep up the great work. I look forward to going out with you next time I'm there. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. One more thing is like we have, I think, if we just arrange in different places in New York City, we have many very impressive spots. Like one could be the Staten Island Ferry spot inside of the other terminal, and this side New York side in Manhattan. That's like one way we can go in summer. That's very important. A lot of people are moving around there. That's one. Central Park we can do one, and we can go to the what is called the Grand Army Plaza. That's another spot we can go. But the public library, Brooklyn Public Library. Over there also one spot we can think about it.
Kishore Rani?
Yeah,
Kishore Rani? This is an example of an emerging leader.
Yeah.
And you see that, those who come into this process and then they start to bring good ideas, enthusiasm, and so these are the leaders that step forward, and then they can start helping develop teams in different places and things like that. But you, Prabhu, are one of them. I can tell it from your demeanor and from the words that you're saying. A Sankirtan leader for sure. Well done. Bhakti Sarah, how has it been for you? You've been here since the very beginning.
I Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for talking with us today. MSF has been so wonderful since its inception, I guess, well, revival, I guess, in New York.
Yeah.
September. It's been really inspiring to see how the team has grown. I feel like there's a core. We've got this core team that's been there since the beginning. And with every month, we're attracting more people around the core, and the core group is also getting stronger as time goes on as well. So it's kind of getting a little bit bigger every month. And yeah, it's been very inspiring. It's very inspiring to be able to do book distribution with Harinam going on. I really like speaking with people that I can tell are appreciating kirtan. When I see them stop and they're kind of getting absorbed in the kirtan, it feels a little easier for me to approach them and start talking to them about kirtan, and then moving on to literature. Today I had a really nice experience with the woman who I noticed was attracted to the kirtan, and she actually ended up, we were talking about music, and she was talking about how she finds drumming very spiritual. And she ended up getting so fired up about kirtan, and she took 2 books. Her daughter was very into meditation. It's just a very wonderful experience. Yeah, I think it was partially the spot too. It was very nice. Vrindavan and I were both commenting how we were barely setting up the table, and we had like a flurry of so many people coming up to us.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's just overall a very good experience. But I'm very grateful to the team and for your expert guidance. And
Well done, Bhakti Sarah. Really nice. And I like that description of how, just as you were setting up, people were coming over. And I always see that as the principle of the more you show, the more you sell, the 3rd law of book distribution. And, you know, it's really true that people are walking around sort of looking for something. And when they see something taking shape that might satisfy them in some way, you know, they naturally come over. Living entities are curious. And it's just such a nice reinforcement of that principle, that the living entities are looking for this. And when you see that, it becomes more and more encouraging to go out and find the others, right? Nice, nice. Thank you very much for being a stalwart in the MSF process.
so Prabhu, we always emphasize that afterwards that devotees should have excellent prasadam and a space to gather and really reflect. And so, Kishore Rani's husband, so he made, I mean, so many of these devotees, these Russian devotees have, like every week they're bringing prasadam from home cooked prasadam, and like making the effort to bring it in containers and everything. And today, I believe it was Sanjay, his wife, she had brought, like, just unbeknownst, you know, like all these small little offerings of different, like, really Hakka Bengali, like, it reminded me of being back in Mayapur, actually. Like, Mayapur came, you know, at the end of the MSF. And so that happens, and Kashishwar Prabhu has been feeding us along with Kishore Rani and members of their team. And today, I think everybody said, hands down, he's made the best khichdi that we've ever had in our lives. He also leads kirtan, so really such, I mean,
So invaluable.
support. It's amazing.
An army runs on its stomach. And actually, I think this is the most important part of not just the MSF, but the Krishna consciousness movement, having those that are so nurturing, you know, who cook for others and bring the prasadam out. You know, I had programs my wife and I had programs at our house here for many years. Actually, mostly I was leading the program because she would come back late from work. And then and I was giving some very simple prasadam. But then when she started cooking and expanding it, then there's so many people coming every week, you know, we couldn't fit them all. And I realized at that time how, you know, all the things go together, but you have to have a sumptuous prasadam. And when you do, the devotees feel enlivened. They just remember and come back. It's Krishna's most merciful form, you know, prasadam. So thank you very much for arranging.
No mic?
No mic. It's better without.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Vaisesika Prabhu. We are very much enlivened by having your association and inspiration coming from you. I just want to say a couple of things. You know, first of all, about if it came to the prasadam, I just cooked the standard brahmachari style Sankirtan traveling party prasadam, and that's why it came out quite good. Yeah. I'm very much happy that my wife has taken this service, and I heard some smart people say that if you know, like a husband and wife engage in devotional service, that's the perfection of Vikasika Ashram. But there is another saying that if in a healthy relationship, women take a lead, and husband they're kind of backing up, I mean, helping, assisting. So that's the best arrangement for myself, because though I used to do books for quite many years when I was young, but now I just feel very much comfortable and blessed just to support my wife. And every single time, whenever we trying to plan another MSF, we are in the anxiety, expecting disaster. You know, 2 days ago, we felt it will be like, it will be terrible. It will be everything falling apart. So many obstacles, impediments, lack of communication, cooperation. But you know, miraculously, every time it ends up in full and complete bliss. So for me, I have, in my own observation, I always find that in this particular situation, I feel that this particular day has been recorded in the history of the universe, or it has been completely dedicated, and I know it goes to the credit for our spiritual, you know, future. You know, like it won't be forgotten. So like that. So for me, I'm just happy, just even to pull the cart, the festival equipment, and just even today, I was walking on the street with the carts, pulling our carpet and many other things, and I was like wondering, wow, 20 years ago, I was young, I was pulling this cart. Now I'm 45, I'm still pulling the same carts with the books, with the carpet, with the instruments, and I feel like, well, it will never probably end. And I'm happy about it. So anyway, I'm very happy. I can see that there is some development, and slowly we are actually forming up a good team, and that's very important for us because, you know, somehow or other we are connected to the mission of preaching, which I honestly I've been lacking for quite many years since I moved out of my brahmachari life. You know, like. You know, useless life, because without direct preaching, there is no taste. I mean, we have many other wonderful things, but whoever tasted the, you know, experienced the taste of the preaching, would never forget it. So it's very important that we're still connected to it. And I'm very much grateful, Prabhu, for, you know, for you actually giving all your heart and support to all of us. And in this way, you're in the fight. You're still young. You're still doing something useful for circle. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That was really, you know, well spoken. You're well spoken. you know, that the comment you made, the observation about how, you know, you had a taste, you have a taste for frontline preaching and so forth, and you see how this gives an opportunity for everybody in the community to have that same taste. You know what it is because you've done it for so many years. And it's really important for people who come to the Christian Consciousness Movement to have an opportunity to have a taste of that, what it feels like to be out there. I liked what you said in the beginning also about from one MSF to the next, you anticipate disaster. And this is kind of what Prabhupada described as spiritual anxiety. And really, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, he always had his leaders, you know, when they'd get big donations, he'd make them spend it on festivals so that they were always dependent on Krishna. And I find that, you know, this kind of anxiety where, you know, you're planning for the best, but you're hoping for the best, but you know, it always seems like, how is it going to really happen? Because it seems like you're working against all odds. But then it just does work somehow or other. That's where the real bond takes place between the devotees and Lord Chaitanya, because they're seeing that there's an unseen hand there that you start to see more and more when you take those risks to actually go out, because it's a risk. You know, what if you go out and everybody says no, or you know, whatever, anything can go wrong. But you see that actually this movement is being supported by the Supreme Lord. So that's where we really grow. And I really like those observations you made. Thank you very much for being there. It's making all the difference in the world. And I can feel it, you know, your conviction and your steadiness is coming through as a huge support. Hare Krishna.
Guru Maharaj, we would like to announce the scores.
Oh, yes, please. Yes.
Yes, so altogether we distributed 16 Bhagavad Gitas, 1/6, 3 Srimad Bhagavatam, 1.1, 6 Science of Self-Realization, 8 Chant and Be Happy, 2 Ishopanishad, 16 small yoga books, and 5 karma books, Spanish karmas. Altogether, it was 56 books, and we collected $228.
Wow! Amazing! Amazing! That's really big. Really, really excellent work. What a team effort, and the results speak for themselves. It's really great what you've done. I'm so impressed. This is a really, I would say, for all over the world, people are rooting for New York right now. I just came from the GBC meetings in Mayapur, and every person was asking me, how's New York? What's going on in Radha Govinda? And you're the ones there, the tip of the spear, who are, you know, bringing the spirit of book distribution Sankirtan, which is the balm that actually heals all wounds. So I'm so proud of all of you and so deeply grateful for what you're doing. The leaders and everybody who's coming together and all the contributing people. This is the spirit that will continue to grow and actually bring the kind of solace and enthusiasm at the same time to all the devotees around New York. So thank you very, very much, and congratulations. You know, mostly congratulations. You've almost made it through the whole winter now. I mean, spring is coming up in a few days. I don't know if you're feeling it there yet, but if it's there. And we started this before the winter, and you just plowed right through, literally. So, I mean, this is it's really it really looks good on all fronts. Thank you very, very much.
Guru Maharaj, I want to say one thing. I wanted to say one more thing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your expert guidance, because You know, it takes a lot for us to communicate even between each other. So much, sometimes misunderstanding and different things. And even this time, right, we had different kind of misunderstandings. But then when we contacted you, you just said, it's Lord Chaitanya's plan, so don't worry, just do what you can. And everything just like this. So thank you so much for all your expert guidance. And from all the
I feel fortunate to be considered part of the team. And I look forward to us continuing to grow and solidify everything, because it's a bona fide offering that you just made. There's lots of ways you can offer things to Krishna, but I guarantee you this offering you just made to Prabhupada and Radha Govinda is the thing that they like the best. I was in Calcutta recently. We took our yatra there, and we went to the Bagh Bazar temple. That's the flagship temple that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta built in Calcutta. And one of the things I had always heard, I'd never been there before, was that he set up the printing press right next to the altar. And so we went around the whole temple, and I was saying, I want to see the printing press. And it wasn't visible anywhere. So, can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
So one person talked to another. They were calling different members of the mutt there were calling to this, and they asked, who is this person who wants to see it? And they told them, I'm a disciple of Prabhupada, and I've been distributing books my whole life in Krishna consciousness. So they took some interest. So they came over, and one of the senior devotees then said, okay, we'll take you. We had 100 devotees there. He said, we can only take 3, and I'll show you. So they're building a museum there that's going to open in June. So they took 3 of us up the escalator to the new museum that's under construction. We went to the top floor, and I walked in. The room's still under construction also, but the printing press was there. And I felt immediately compelled. I offered my dandavats and felt very emotional to see that. But that was nothing compared to when I walked around the other side. I looked on that printing press, and it was built in Cleveland, Ohio. From a company that's now defunct. It went out of business in 1983, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had shipped that over from America in Cleveland, Ohio, to print books in Calcutta and distribute them. And now there you are in America, you know, distributing books. So I'm just saying this by way of expressing to you how connected you are to the parampara, to these great acharyas. This was their life and desire to see that the message would go out to people through the Brihat Madanga, through the printed literature, and you're doing it. So I'm just really seriously overwhelmed with gratitude for what you're doing, and pray for your success and the success of our team. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Radha Govinda, please empower our MSF team to have steadiness and courage within our hearts, so that we can go on serving you in this way that you've asked us to do. Please send resources and all kinds of enthusiastic devotees to join and to help expand our party. Everyone who agrees with these ideas and sentiments, please say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Lord Premanande Haribo. Panchakalpaduruscha Kripasundabeva Chapatitanam Bhavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Anantakoti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Wonderful.